Well, hello there again, friends. Today is 6/15/2022, and today is the Odin Project vlog day 120. And I got through mobile menus for this video, which is this middle section here. It says mobile versions of your site are almost always definitely going to need their own menu implementation. Depending on how you decide to implement your dropdown, you could reuse it here. I think they're referring to the previous dropdown we made. But there are tons of more inventive options out there. Sub 1 says browse the web for some inspiration, pick something up, and try to implement it. So I won't go out to these links because we'll do in a later video we'll do a recap after I do the image slider. But basically I picked something out here and just started working on it and implemented something. I will say that I did not put this to GitHub. It is a local project, and because I didn't plan on building an npm package for this and deploying it out, so this is just strictly local on my machine. Just kind of playing around. Partially also because they didn't have any implementation steps here. They didn't say you had to, that they wanted you to publish it or anything like that. So without further ado, let's get started. So the HTML, the boilerplate file here, we start out, is pretty similar. Make this a little bit bigger here. It's pretty similar to yesterday's drop-down menu. So to get started, I created a new folder called Node.js path not GitHub. This is just kind of like my generic folder I'm going to put stuff in, kind of like I did for Foundations not JS not GitHub, but this one's for Node. For this portion, just to put stuff in that's not going to be pushed to GitHub, just to keep myself organized. And then I created a project folder called UI Interactions Mobile Menus, and I have an index.html file, a menu-actions.js, which is the JavaScript, and then a style sheet to go along with it. All at the same level, so we're not using Webpack or anything like that. Everything's hard-coded in to link up correctly to each other. So let's go through this a little bit. So we have a title here, UI Interactions Mobile Menu. Again, not GitHub, just the local projects. I put that in the title, just for my use anyway. And then, so what I did in the body is I created a span, called that class hamburger icon, and this pound or ampersand pound 9776 is something I googled. I don't know what you exactly call it. I think it's character entity representing. When this one at times does a X, which is a Unicode equivalent to U plus 00D7. We did do a little bit of this kung fu-ery in the latest to-do list project, and that's essentially what this is here, even though it's not tool tipping on me. The @ sign pound 9776 is a hamburger image, and that is what that is right there. So basically that's just the visual representation of that, instead of basically using that instead of downloading SVG file, just kind of a shortcut there. And then there's a div here to start it off, ID of my side nav and a class of side nav. I'll be utilizing both of those. This class will be ID will be mostly to harness CSS, and I use a class for my JS, and a little combo of both. But then I have a bunch of anchor tags inside that don't link to anything. They're just dummy tags. And then the first one's has a classic close button, and again that at times, which is the X to close the that will reside. You'll see it in the when I showcase it, but it's X that resides inside the div to close the slider. So basically, it's a hamburger menu in the visual representation, but when you click the hamburger, it's a slider. It slides out, and you'll see it. Pardon me. You'll see it here in a bit. And then I have a script tag with a source of menu actions menu-actions.js script tag here, and that runs at the end. And then the style, starting out with the hamburger icon I just showed you. It's getting a font size of 60 pixels, and it's got a pointer cursor on it, so we can tell the user that it's clickable, or show them anyway. And we have a side nav here that this is the navigation menu link for each of those anchor tags. Actually, no, I'm sorry. The side nav is the div itself that the anchor tags are sitting in. So it's got a height of 100%. So full height, width is 0. So we're going to change that with the JavaScript. But it's going to load with 0, meaning it's going to be basically hidden. Position fix z index 1, which means we're going to have it stacked and staying on top. And top 0, left 0, so it stays on top. Background color is RBG 317187, which is kind of this cool like royal blue. And we have an overflow X of hidden, and that disables the horizontal scroll, so that you can't so we don't allow the user to manipulate the horizontal scroll. Padding top is 60 pixels, and we have a transition of 0.5 half a second, basically. And that combines the transition. That's the transition effect for the slider in the slide nav as it comes out. So when we have a hover action, or a click action on the hamburger menu, the slider will transition from left to right. And below that is the anchor tag, padding 88832 respectively. Text decorations none. Just like on the other one, that just removes the underline. Font size 25 pixels. Color is an off gray. Display is block. And transition, again, just like on the nav, we have a 0.3 second transition. So the anchor tags will have a transition of their own. And it's hard to see the difference, but you'll see, maybe not in the video, it may not come across super clear, but on my screen it does. You'll see that the anchor tags move just ever so slightly faster than the nav that it's sitting in, the site nav, which is the div. And we have a hover action of a light shade of white, and that's when you hover over the individual anchor tags on the links inside each anchor tag inside the div, inside of the site nav. That gives that highlighted effect that we seen in the as showcased in the previous button drop down exercise. And here's site nav close button. So this does both the site nav and close button. So we're going to do a position of absolute. This styles the close button and puts it in the top right corner with absolute and top 0, right 25 pixels, font size 36, and margin left 50. So this basically positions that X for close in the top right hand corner of the div. Main, this is the transitioning effect from margin left, so left to right. We're gonna pair it the same as the container of transition up here in site nav for half a second, and padding is 20 pixels on that. And then I did a media query also. This is mainly for screens that have a max height of 450 pixels. And then I defined within that the side nav will have a padding top of 15 pixels and a anchor font size of 18 pixels. This is more for like mobile friendly, tablets or phones, something with a much smaller screen, because as you know, max height 450 pixels is not very big. So that is that. So that basically means that if the maximum height of the media query is 450, it's going to append these two rule sets to the selectors instead of using these up here, because they won't work in the mobile screen because it's just too small. So there's that. Let's see. So we go over here to the JavaScript. Pretty simple. A lot like the previous one, except we don't have a window.event. So here we have a variable being declared. We're going to create a click event for the slider to expand. So creating a variable called hamburger, and it's going to grab that query selector of the hamburger icon in the DOM. And we're going to have a hamburger. We're going to add an event listener to it for a click, and it's going to run local function expand slider, and then it's going to run document .get element by ID, which is going to grab my slide nav ID from the HTML and add the style width of 250 pixels, and that will give it that width that it needs to expand to with the animation and the transition. And then we have a second click event created to close slider on X. So when X is clicked, we're capturing that that option with the X icon, which is grabbing the close button, which is this right here, which is the first anchor tag. And then it's going to get X icon. The X icon is going to get the event listener with the local function of contract slider, and that is going to get element by ID. Again, the same exact code, except we're changing the width to 0, which is obviously is going to change it from 250 back down to 0, and so it's going to start that animation and visual effects. And that's pretty much it. So here's what it looks like in the browser. Kind of showcased it already, but here's it in action. So I'm going to click the hamburger menu. So here we have the pop out, and then you have the menu item 1, 2, 3, 4. You can see the highlighting, and that's that visual effect for the white when you do the hover for the anchor tags. And then here's your X. I'm going to click that, and it retracts back to 0. Click it, expands. X to contract comes back, and that's essentially what it's doing. So you can see the style width here in the HTML being added for 250. If you watch and then hit the X, that'll go away, and that go defined back to 0. So basically it's there, it's just got 0 width, so you can't see it. And that's it. Pretty simple. Like I said, I didn't even make a GitHub project for this particular one because I didn't plan on packaging it, so it didn't really make sense to make it a project, so to speak. It's just a little feature. So looking back, I probably should have, but I'm going to keep moving forward on this because I do believe that image slider is going to take a lot more time, a lot more thought is going to go into this, and even kind of tease that and tell you that this one's going to be not anything new, but it's going to take you a little bit of brainstorming to figure out. So I think that's all I wanted to cover today, so keeping this one short and sweet. So thanks for coming along the ride today and learn a little bit along the way with me. Please like, share, and subscribe for more content, and let me know in the comment section how you guys are doing with these little mini projects. So next time we'll do image slider, and then we'll do a round out of the knowledge check and move on to the next thing. So with all that said, till next time, see ya.